Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another Up Is Not Jump reaction. And it has been a while since I've done a reaction to one of his videos, because he hasn't uploaded in a while. This is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is an absolute nightmare. This is why. God, honestly, like, I love Up Is Not Jumps. I've talked about it before when I've reacted to other things from him, but I first discovered him way back when all he did was like Fallout 4 machinima YouTube poop sort of deals. Like, really funny. I loved, like, specifically, like, he did skits with Rick and Morty and stuff like that. And then he eventually kind of moved on into, like, doing stuff like this. And just, I've loved every single bit of his channel, and I'm so happy he's still going on today. And going on to the actual video game topic of this video, I have heard a lot of good things about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Like, it's a very good, like, RPG, for the most part, from what I've heard, very authentic to the time period. I think, does it take place in, like, medieval Bohemia or something? I can't remember off the top of my head. Honestly, I'd play it myself if I had the money. But yeah, I mean, super excited for another Up Is Not Jump video, and here it is, so, you know, might as well get this thing started. So, yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And if you like this video or any other video that I make, I'd very much appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe to my channel, because over 3/4 of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I'd very much like that to change, because my main goal for this year is hopefully hit 10,000 subscribers. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is about a man named Henry exploring a realistic and historically accurate recreation of medieval Bohemia.
I was right, okay.
You say, let's do it. Bring on the dysentery.
God, how much of that suit of armor actually cost?
The game starts with Henry traveling into Trusky with his noble friend Hans Capon. We are traveling so that we can deliver a message to the local lord, Lord von Berghoff, to convince him to support the imprisoned King Wenceslas rather than his brother Sigismund. Thrilling. It all goes wrong though, as while we sit in our camp discussing our various incurable illnesses.
Hey, I hear syphilis is the new black plague.
We are attacked by anti-Berghoff bandits.
So I'm thinking of it, I don't think syphilis actually was a thing at this point in Europe. I think that's a New World disease, isn't it? Wait, let me double check that. First recorded outbreak of syphilis in Europe occurred in 1494 in Naples. Really? Okay, I thought it would have been later than that. Interesting.
And must escape into the woods without our gear. And over the course of this incredibly long intro, we lose most of our skills and are eventually left penniless and alone in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere. Our only goal to get enough fine clothing and general gear to get into a local fancy wedding, as Lord von Berghoff will apparently be there.
So let's start by talking about the world this game sets up and how realistic it really is.
Though, you know, honestly, it's that thing, isn't it? Because, like, again, I think Henry was the protagonist of the first one from what I've heard. But, you know, whenever they do something like that in an RPG where, oh, it's the next game, and all your skills are gone, stuff like that, you always feel, like, a little ripped off. Like, I mean, you have to be so careful with it. Like, I remember when I played Deus Ex not Human Revolution. What was the one that came after that? I did a playthrough of it. But in that one, like, it's like you fall from a great height, or there's this massive EMP or something, and that knocks you out or something. Like, it's like, it is such a pain.
The promise of realism is the main reason this series was funded on Kickstarter. Our character Henry needs food, sleep, clothes, and several million gallons of water to wash himself, because even the most minor injuries in this game coat you like it's Kill Bill. As well as this, a huge amount of effort has gone into making the towns and the people in them feel as realistic as possible.
Yeah, realistic. We're dealing with Oblivion levels of realism right here.
People go about their days doing jobs, guards realistically patrol the towns at night, everyone's clothes have been possessed by demons, and all of the quests and dialogue have been designed to always include numerous outcomes and ways to solve situations. The thing is, with ever-increasing graphics card power, games have been promising us more and more choices, but honestly, most of the time, I just feel more restricted. In Fallout 3, for example, I roleplayed as a serial killer whose calling card was completely dismembering every victim and hiding every one of their body parts in nearby bins. But now with games having such big and complex stories, half of the characters we meet are marked as essential and simply can't be killed. All I want is to be able to play dice against H-Bomber Guy here.
Today's my lucky day. I can feel it in my bones.
Wait, is that actually H-Bomber Guy? What? I didn't know he was in this game.
Roll badly and lose all my money to him.
Ha ha ha! The money's mine!
Finish our game, wait until nightfall, creep into his room while he's asleep to violently murder him.
Ah!
The character in here did actually scream when I did this. But apparently no one heard it or woke up. Realistic, my bottom.
I mean, again, I'm a very deep sleeper. If like, and my brother sleeps in the next room over. If he was murdered, I don't think I'd actually hear him. I mean, it also doesn't help that he keeps his door closed, and so yeah.
It's just how this game has been designed, though. If a person isn't an essential character in the main storyline, they can be murdered.
You have the freedom to kill almost
What am I
anyone,
doing?
but what's really impressive is even if you are doing a quest and you kill everyone involved, the game is totally ready for it and has unique dialogue programmed to go with it.
Norman died a few days ago.
Did you? No, not me. It just got a bit complicated. No, not me. No, not me. No, not me.
There's a quest in the main game, for example.
Yeah, I didn't kill anybody. They were just dead when they got there. I have no idea what's going on. Is the Black Death happening again?
Where you have to uncover fraud going on in a silver mine. So we're asked to interrogate all of the supervisors in the mine to work out who is reporting incorrect numbers of silver corvos being mined. Halfway through, this mission started to drag harder than me on a Friday night, and I totally snapped from boredom and began to murder every single worker in the mine just to liven things up. But no matter what I did, the mission wouldn't fail. It didn't matter that I had more blood on my hands than Lady Macbeth, Dr. Crusher, or that I systematically put a halt to the entirety of the silver trade in the greater region of Kuttenberg. I went back to the main quest giver, Sir Christian. He had unique dialogue for everything I'd done.
Did you think I wouldn't figure out what you did with them?
And the quest just continued like nothing had happened.
And you know what this made me realize? Making it so that you can murder everyone you meet isn't at all realistic. But it's the best part of the game.
I think the developers are also upset that they've locked themselves into this realistic hellscape, because throughout this game, basically every other quest is related to magic or supernatural events. There's stories related to hell, dragon bones, golems, fire demons, magic artifacts, witches, death herself.
But none of these things are real, so these quests don't actually have any of this stuff happen.
There's one mission where you have to clear out all of the bones from an old cemetery, and with this many human remains, something here is clearly wrong. The tension builds until, while cleaning, you fall through a trap door. Henry hits the ground hard as a skull turns to face him. Then he looks up and sees it.
Walt, please.
No!
Really,
No!
it's just some guy, and down here there is also absolutely nothing because, spoiler warning, there can't be. No, the scariest thing we're going to come across in this game are its rendering issues.
Honestly, the whole thing with the magic is that's the most believable thing. That's what the people back then believed. Like, one of the people I am subscribed to, he's been doing a playthrough, and I've watched it on and off. And I watched him do the mission through the silver mine and do the beginning of the mission involving do it like with the dragon bones and stuff like that. And back then, like, I mean, for the dragon bones, people had not discovered dinosaurs yet. So I mean, like, the closest thing they had was, oh, you know, it has to be a dragon bones. It has to mean something or something. I mean, honestly, that's the greatest part. It's like, oh, there's magic in the world because people think there is. You know, that it's kind of like that.
It's telling that my favorite quests in this game are the ones where fantastical stuff can happen. In this quest here, for example, after much drinking, we end up stumbling through a forest and hallucinating a full conversation with a talking dog.
The world is full of mysteries.
And for me, stuff like this is the whole reason I play video games.
So what doesn't have talking animals in it nowadays?
Soon it will be time to replenish our supply of water.
What? Now, I don't want anyone thinking I think the game is bad because it lacks fantasy elements. I'm not that kind of guy. The game is overall pretty good, because what it absolutely nails is
Writing, yeah.
Talking to people is a huge part of this game. There's so much dialogue, hours and hours can go by without you ever needing to get into combat, though maybe that's for the best. It's all pretty much, without a doubt, really well-written stuff.
Honestly, from what I've seen of the combat in this game, it really is funky. Like, granted, I mean, I'm saying this as somebody who does not generally like melee combat in games. Like, the reason why, like, I love Fallout much more than the Elder Scrolls is because I like using guns more than anything else. In most games I've seen, it's basically just, you know, wherever your reticle is, that's where you hit. Some other games that might actually register, like, the path of travel of the weapon as it's traveling through. But no, from what I've seen of this, it's like, you actually get to choose, like, how you attack and how you defend, like, on, like, an 8-axis, like, compass thing. And how your enemy does it also depends as well. It's like, it's really complicated, and I love what they were going there. It's just, again, melee combat, not for me.
Stuff, okay? Tick. And so it begs the question, what the hell is the persuasion in this game all about? Look, let's go back to the start of things. Henry and Capon rock up to this rocky place. No, that's terrible. They try into Trotsky. And the first thing that happens is we meet some of von Bergov's men. The main guard suspects that we might be bandits he's chasing, and thus we need to persuade him in dialogue that we aren't. Immediately then, we are given this small thesis to memorize, which tells us about the 6 types of persuasion we can employ in conversation.
Wait, 6? Wow, okay, that is a lot. And I thought there was a lot in Wasteland 2. Again, like, if you haven't played it before, it's like one of my earliest playthroughs on the channel when I was purely just a Let's Play channel. But there were what were the 3 persuasions? Okay, yeah, I had to go to the wiki here. But yeah, it was smartass, hardass, and kissass. And so hardass, if I remember correctly, was very much the one where, like, you were persuasion, quote unquote, with, like, your fist or, you know, threats of violence. Kiss ass was very much, you know, kissing up to people to convince them. And then smart ass was the one where you, like, convinced them, like, through logic and deduction that that whatever they were doing was wrong or something like that. Actually, I think if I remember correctly, in Wasteland 3, they got rid of one of those, didn't they? I forget, which one was it? Oh yeah, they got rid of smart ass. It was just hard ass and kiss ass. Ah. Okay. But again, like, I remember back then that I was fascinated by the fact that there was 3 different kinds of, like, speech check persuasion things you could do. But here they have 6? Wow, okay.
The game explicitly tells us to ignore the level we are in each of the persuasion stats. And what actually matters is that we use the right kind of persuasion on the right kind of person. For example, don't threaten bandits, which means don't use the dread stat on bandits. And don't act like a noble if you aren't dressed like a noble, which means don't use the charisma love heart stat. A bit confused to begin the persuasion anyway, and yeah, I've already forgotten what all these obscure images mean. So I have to randomly decide, do I use mouth, love, or what the hell is this supposed to represent? I actually picked this one as it was the highest numbered one of the ones I had, and I succeeded.
Amazing.
It is even more confusing because soon after this tutorial that doesn't quite make sense, the next major dialogue option we get is while talking to this herb woman, and in it we are given only one option, and it's dear. Dear? Dear? That wasn't listed here.
Oh dear.
These sorts of checks are actually to do with other skills totally unrelated to dialogue, but the difficulty these checks are going to be is never fully explained. And even after playing this game for a few dozen hours, I still can't tell which one I'm supposed to pick. And I'm very smart. Where this game really takes the biscuit, though, is sometimes you'll be in a really intense conversation.
You'll pay for that!
And clearly, the next choice you make is going to be important, with long-lasting effects on the story. What? Wait, no, this is timed. Oh, fuck. Okay, wait, so do I use speech or charisma? Charisma is for when you're dressed as a noble, but no, I'm not really. But wait, no, there's these 2 options here, and they don't utilize my skills at all. Are they important? Yeah, everyone killed each other.
Now that you told me these time conversation options implied that the game didn't actually want you to think about what type of persuasion to use based on who you were talking to and what clothes you were wearing, even though it explicitly told you to, I'd say maybe you were being too harsh.
I mean, sure, 1/3 of the way.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'd very much say that it was much more just, you know, the game is now having you on your feet. The game is just forcing you to be on your feet now. And just, it's like forcing you to think. It's like, hey, think of the rules, quick, you don't have time to think of this one, come on, you know, that's...
The game, when you reach level 10 in Scholarship, you unlock a perk called Liberal Arts, which explicitly tells you how difficult a specific check is going to be to pass, and no matter what you do, the difficulty of these checks never changes, so literally the only thing that actually matters in every persuasion is the level you are and the specific type of persuasion you can use, which completely goes against what you were told in the tutorial mission.
Okay. That is horrible. Like, that is just wrong. Why would you do that?
The thing is, outside of this system being introduced pretty confusingly, the conversation stuff does work really well. Pretty much throughout the whole thing, I felt like I could usually carefully analyze all of the dialogue options available and deduce the best thing to say based on the situation. What's even more impressive is most of the skill checks have unique dialogue written for both successes and for failure. That is, if you pass a skill check, Henry will usually say something smart or convincing. But if we fail, we get unique dialogue of him bumbling like a moron.
Come on, let's take this outside.
We're already outside.
No, yeah, brilliant.
It's almost exactly like how New Vegas did its skill checks. And you know how we all suck the toes of that game? No, it's not happening.
Again, it's one of those things, and I know, like, you know, speech checks, and like, I know there are some people that, like, that don't like the idea of knowing if you actually pass a speech check, you know, like in real life. Because, like, I think, I think for New Vegas, there is a mod that actually removes the indicator saying that something is a speech check, and then so you can just, like, go through it without even knowing you even passed a speech check, which, thinking about it, I could imagine that being, like, something set in, like, a difficulty setting, but, like, I would not want that just by default, because I generally, I mean, like, I go to video games to escape reality, not to emulate it. Also, wait, do those potions have the save icon on them? What?
For a big modern open world game, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does a lot of pretty unusual things. Possibly the most divisive is you have a limited number of saves. You can make saves by brewing
it's
this
one
drink
of
called Save Your
those?
Schnapps with the right herbs. Then, to save your game, you drink one and the schnapps is used up. To brew 2 save potions, you need to have nettles and belladonna, and it can be pretty slow going, because not only does it take about 2 hours to bend over and pick up a single herb, it takes about 3 minutes of pretty detailed alchemy procedures to brew a single potion. 2 potions. However, the complexity of brewing potions in this game is the kind of realism I actually quite like. We have to repeatedly check the recipe book, use the right base for the potion, grind herbs before adding them. You even have an egg timer to make sure you never under or over boil any of the ingredients, and no matter what I did, I always messed this timing up.
Careful. Careful. Oh my god.
And while I like the potion brewing at the start, by about halfway through this 80-hour game, it did start to grind harder than me on a Saturday night. The problem is, I don't usually...
Honestly, that's one of those things, like, I totally, like, again, there's a number of things where, like, I like when you actually, like, get into these games where you actually, like, undergo and do the process of making stuff. Again, the whole idea of just grinding through, like, in the beginning, it's... Like, you should be, but it's definitely one of those things, at least in my opinion, that you should be rewarded for doing, like, or progressing through the game. Like, I can totally imagine, like, in the beginning of the game, you having to do, like, everything manually. But then as, like, you, let's say, like, you were doing, like, something in Skyrim, or if you had the Skyrim type leveling up system where, you know, the more you do something, the more you level up or something. Like, I can totally imagine after a point of making potions, it eventually gets to the point where you're high enough where you can just make, like, low-level potions, like, automatically, and the higher your level gets, the more and more potions you can just make automatically without having to go through the entire process of doing it. And again, the whole limited saves thing, that is annoying. I hate games that do that.
We see the point of using potions in games. It always feels like Skyrim, where there are so many different useless types, and it's all irrelevant because in every situation, nothing is more useful than 2 healing potions. In Kingdom Come, the potions continue this trend of almost all of them being entirely useless.
Wait, do all of them just have... Wait, that's why it has the save icon on the side. Did they all just come in like a clay flask like that with just an image on the side? Oh... Okay.
Aqua Vitalis slows bleeding, but you can't use it from the item menu during combat, and Chamomile Decoction increases the rate you heal when you sleep, but there's not really any limit on how long you can sleep. But then there's Marigold Decoction, which heals all wounds, and Nighthawk Potion, which makes you be able to see in the dark. What? So you're telling me it's imperative in this game that there are no cool demons or portals to hell, but I'm able to roleplay as Severus fucking Snape?
What? Okay, honestly, it took me a second to realize that was being played in reverse.
Needing potions to save, though, was actually a pretty fun mechanic for me, and it becomes really interesting in difficult quests like For Who the Bell Tolls.
In this quest, we're locked in a castle area and have to save Capon, who is up for execution because he poached some animals. We are also under arrest because we started a fight earlier on, which means all of our stuff has been taken away, including our save potions. So begins our mission, where we have to save Capon from execution before we hear 12 bells toll. And we do this by reaching the captain from the start of the game, since he can vouch for our noble blood. And I just think everything about this quest is so interesting. You can't save, the quest markers are vague, you even have to listen out for the bells to make sure that you don't run out of time. A time limit! Big games like this can be so hand-holdy nowadays that when I first did this mission, I thought the bell ringing was just matching our progress through the mission, and there'd be no way that you could actually run out of time. Oh dear.
And this is what I love so much about video games. You can just tweak a few simple mechanics, and it completely changes the way the game feels to play.
Honestly, again, like, I had already heard a lot about this game, but I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to get it myself. Honestly, everything I'm hearing from upisnotjump here, like, I am simultaneously, like, understanding its just level of quality and love that went into this game, while also, like, not wanting to play it more and more. Like, it's like, I understand that this game is like, my understanding of this game's quality is increasing, but with that, my want to play it is decreasing.
Halfway through this mission, for example, while sneaking around the castle, I was so stressed I was going to be seen and lose all of my progress. Wait, is that a save potion?
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
So often in
What
games,
is
I find
that?
myself collecting every meaningless resource I stumble upon with the same relentless, dead-eyed stare. Yet there wasn't a single time where I found a save potion in this game, and it wasn't just really exciting. The fact that the most popular mod for this game adds unlimited saves to it is so upsetting to me. It's like a mod that adds good writing to Fallout 4. It just isn't the same! As this mission goes on,
Wait, is that okay? Is that an actual mod, or is that just something you made up?
the tension continues to build as you get deeper into the castle. One slip up and you'll have to go all of the way back, so you consider every decision carefully. Pause and listen for guards before entering each room and— oh my god, it's an alchemy set!
Alright, I've got it this time.
Okay.
Speaking of brewing potions, the blacksmithing in this game is equally as mental. Forging a single weapon takes about 4 minutes from start to finish, as you have to start the sequence, heat the metal, take the metal to the anvil, hammer the metal, turn the metal, hammer the metal, reheat the metal, hammer the metal. And the better you are at these tasks, the better the produced weapon will be. The thing is, the game got really carried away with the number of quests where you have to do blacksmithing. In my playthrough alone, I had to make 2 axes, 4 swords, 3 longswords, and 12 horseshoes. I had to make so much that I'd end up blacksmithing in the middle of the night just to get it all done. And I feel really bad for the neighbors.
I mean, it's realistic. I mean, if you have the light, you know, from the fire and stuff like that, if you have orders to fill, you know, better fill them.
I feel quite hungry!
I worked it out, and I had to spend roughly 1 hour of my playthrough just making swords and shit. And I wouldn't mind, but not only did I never once successfully hammer in time to my whistling, for f***'s sake, nothing I made was ever better than the weapon I already had. See, before Henry's father died, he made a sword, and now Henry wants to find it. You probably don't remember, though, as Henry barely mentions it.
Where's my fucking sword?
Halfway through the game, as part of the main story, you get this sword back. Sorry, why is it f***ing raining inside?
I'm not a magician, you know?
And this sword
I mean, you never know. It's the Middle Ages. The roof might have literally fallen off.
is more than good enough to get you to the end of the game. It's such a shame because you have this really fun, well thought out way to make and improve weapons, but I never had any reason to want to do it outside of being forced to do it every 5 minutes. All of this actually makes me think of an old Flash game called Jacksmith. And while I can't believe believe I'm seriously bringing it up. It will make all of the 30-year-old nerds watching this video very happy. In Jacksmith, you make weapons in quite a similar series of mini-games, and the better you are at making these weapons, the stronger they are in fights, and thus the better your army using the weapons will perform. It is such satisfying design. This exact same design is pretty much here in Kingdom Come 2, but since you don't need the weapons you make, you don't get this satisfying payoff for being really good at the blacksmithing process.
Honestly, like, again, never heard of that game, but, like, thinking about it, like, I know there's a number of games on Steam that are just that, where you're a blacksmith. Like, I think, God, what is it? I'm forgetting the name, but there's literally a game that's like, it's a pixel like, voxel game, but literally the blacksmithing is literally, like, you get, like, the block of metal, and you're literally moving, like, pixels of the metal around, like, you select them and move them, and it's, like, it is so weird, but obviously just the production aspect right there is popular. And also, I've been recently watching, Blue-Eyed Samurai, and there's a lot of blacksmithing in that one too. Though I know, you know, that with blacksmithing katanas is much different than blacksmithing European sword.
Burning it.
And even if you disregard all of this, there's still absolutely no reason to forge better weapons, and that is because of the
what? Combat.
I've kicked a dog to death.
The combat in this game starts off really strong. We are taught how to time attacks, to attack where the enemy isn't guarding, block in time with their attacks, and after blocking, to counter with an attack. But once the main game started, this never seemed to result in me actually ever hitting my target. You stand there attacking and blocking over and over again without a single hit ever landing for longer than it takes to forge a single horseshoe.
I mean, that pretty much just points towards everybody in the game being a really good fighter, but with... Honestly, you know what that reminds me of? That the clip is sped up. It very much reminds me of like a single scene from Robin Hood Men in Tights, where you have the one character Blinken, like who's blind, where he's swinging a sword thinking he's fighting, but he's hacking at like a wooden support column. And just by the end of it, it's just like shaved off like an apple core.
You again.
And if you are fighting more than one enemy, which you always are, this combat isn't just slow, it's unbearable. What's even stranger is there are a lot of different combat skills you can learn by searching for different combat trainers around the map. Though I think I found the one I'm looking for. But the first new combat move the game got me to learn was the Master Strike, which is aptly named because now you are completely unstoppable and have absolutely no use for any other of the combat techniques. I got into a fight halfway through this game against 7 men, and using only the Master Strike, I killed all of them without any hassle at all. Oh wait, no, I missed one.
This guy thinks he can get away.
Bow and arrow. Yeah, there we go.
Au revoir, Shoshana!
Nah,
You didn't shoot
screw
him?
it.
And I did this all with some sword I found in a chest 10 hours ago. So as I say, blacksmithing may be fun, but there's absolutely no need to get good at it in order to forge better weapons.
Honestly, like, the one way I could imagine that being better is if the quality of the blade actually resulted in, like, the possibility of a poor quality blade breaking. Like, can you imagine, like, you make your own sword, it's not the best quality, but it's yours, so you're going to use it, and then in the middle of combat, because you didn't make it quite properly, like, you take, like, a good, like, you swing at the enemy, and they block it with their sword or their shield, and then your sword breaks. Like, then I could totally see, you know, the quality and the quality of the sword and the quality of your forging, like, mattering, like, completely.
Speaking of useless, I found almost all of the ranged weapons in this game to be utterly unusable. First of all, just look how long it takes to load this crossbow with one shot.
Oh my god, you actually...
Oh my god, I'm so happy. Oh, I'm done!
See, there's no aim reticle for ranged weapons, so actually hitting your target is really difficult. And even if you do by some miracle manage to hit your target with this crossbow, it doesn't always kill them in one hit, so they continue running at you and you are dead.
Honestly, that's one of those things, like, I mean, honestly, the whole reloading animation of the crossbow is realistic. And I know, you know, aiming, again, it's that whole thing. Just this past week, I was a scout leader up at a camp north, And, you know, as one of the badges we were working on was archery. And the whole thing with, you know, again, with, you know, bows and arrows is no reticule. And it's difficult. It is. It totally is. I have total respect for people who can, like, who actually are able to hit things with a bow and arrow or a crossbow.
Crossbow should be one-hit kill. I don't care if they take an arrow to the knee. I want their adventuring days over. You're usually doomed if your crossbow doesn't hit an enemy because there's no quick way to draw a sword and defend yourself. Instead, you have to open the weapon select menu at the bottom of the screen, scroll across to your sword, put away your crossbow, and start to pull out. But if you're in combat and thus get hit while scrolling to select your sword, this will close the weapon select process and just select whatever you were on when you were hit a fucking bow.
So let's say that you know to select your sword, you have to press left on the D-pad 3 times. Once to open the weapon menu, and then twice to scroll along to select the sword.
So in combat, you'll naturally just tap left 3 times on the D-pad and then wait. But if you get hit while doing this, it all gets completely cancelled, and you just stand there taking blows, waiting for your sword that isn't coming.
Oh, God. I mean, that really makes you wish that you could just... I mean... At the end of the day, you can bludgeon somebody with a crossbow or a bow. It wouldn't be very effective, but in, like, case of emergency, just you make the attack not do a lot of damage, but have knockback, so you can whack them away, get them away from you, so you can switch to your sword and actually use it.
Now, don't worry, I hear you. Wouldn't you notice if you weren't taking your weapon out?
No.
Especially when you're being hit over and over. The depth of field in this game means that you don't really see your sword properly when it is being pulled out. What the fuck was that? Not to mention, in this hurried mess, if you accidentally ever press right on the D-pad first, it scrolls to the item select menu on this side, and pressing left on the D-pad now won't take you back over to the weapon select menu here.
Oh,
So if you're in a fight, you again can't change weapons to defend yourself, and the only way to get back to your weapon select menu over here is to first press the B button. B?
Where'd B come into this all of a sudden? My controller doesn't even have a f***ing B button.
There's even a common...
God, honestly, you know... I watch YouTubers like upisnotjump where they have, like, these little skits and jokes in them, but I really have to wonder, like, how much do they spend on, like, spare controllers? And, like, if they're if they review older games, like duplicate copies of games, or like blank game cartridges that they can afford to destroy for, like, burning it or something because it's so bad. Like, how much? Where do you get, like that's got to be so expensive, specifically to buy, like, an Xbox controller just to destroy it for like a 2-second joke.
Glitch which totally stops you from being able to change weapons.
Oh,
and
come
it's all just
on!
The point is, I only use a sword, so I never have to change any weapons. Also, almost all fights that start up as a cutscene ends will begin with an enemy running straight at you with their weapon drawn. Sometimes the game even loads in with them basically in mid-attack. But do we start with our weapon drawn? Do we?
No.
So if you don't act immediately in these situations, you'll start getting hit, meaning you can't draw your weapon and you will lose. In a game where saves are a limited resource, making it possible for you to suddenly die without any real way to defend yourself is not only really frustrating, it can set you back up to half an hour to your last save.
What did I say before about the more I hear about this game, the more I hear it's like the more I understand it's really well made, but the less I want to play it. Oh God, again, limited saving, horrible, you know, ability to, like, draw weapons in combat. Oh God, this is hurting. Oh.
You get explosive weapons in this game too, but when I say these are weapons, I'm being sarcastic. You have a better chance of hitting something with a bow in this game while you're riding a horse. What the hell is this?
Oh, that rabbit is mine!
Enemies were just standing in point-blank range when this thing went off and nothing would happen.
I mean, did you actually load it? Did you forget to, like, put in like actual ammo, or did you just pour the gunpowder in it? It just made a big explosion.
How the f did I miss that? Jesus, it's like that scene in Pulp Fiction. Great editing there. Then, of course, reloading and also actually firing these guns takes more time than swallowing the damn thing.
Again, historical accuracy. Is that a tiki torch?
So if you miss, you're open to attack, can't change weapons, and you die. At a pretty high level of marksmanship, you do unlock a perk called Eagle Eye, which allows you to slow time when firing arrows. And this is great because it makes it much harder to miss shots and... I'm sorry, what? How exactly does slowing time fit into the realism of this game? You're telling me a crossbow needs to be wound up tighter than my pants around, but Henry here can manipulate time.
I mean, that I can very much see that just as being, you know, perception changing. Like he's able to perceive things slower, quicker, or whatever the word would be.
What's the justification for this? We've taken so many blows to the head from being inherently unable to defend ourselves. We're able to somehow see through time and space. This game is longer than that weird sword I had to forge. What is going on? What when it end? I shall be known as the Grand Champion. So it makes sense that some of the finer details of this game are less refined. Characters will jump around mid-conversation, the same animations are used over and over. Pathfinding can be a bit iffy, lights turn off and on as you walk around, many people float in mid-air, textures don't load right, and cutscenes will play out where every character in them is totally missing. But
honestly, I love this level. This is just I love this level of jank. It's like everything else in the actual gameplay seems like really good, but then it's as soon as you get to non quote unquote important things that like stuff breaks and people start levitating or disappearing or stuff like that. Oh God, love it.
But none of this really bothers me. At its core, this game is so interestingly designed and well written, these minor details just aren't that important to me.
I mean, for all we know, it might be just a part of the world where Henry's in fact talking to ghosts.
An example of this is when the characters are drunk in conversation. They will just loop the same drunk animation over and over. So at any time your character will just momentarily pass out or aggressively point.
Nobody would leave a pretty girl like you alone for long.
And sure, this is unrefined, but to me it just gives the game so much character.
Well, again, like that was actually really good timing there. It's like no one would leave a pretty girl like you alone. Like that was like, yeah, that's really good timing there. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Speaking of animations, let's discuss the voice acting. This game is of course set in Bohemia, but it took me ages to realize this because everyone speaks in broad British accents. Henry here is from Somerset, Capon is from the home counties, Moravians are from Scotland, and the miners all come from fucking Jamaica.
Let's go, Maras. We can crack on the way.
Okay, I mean, granted, I could see that as like a slightly better option than, only slightly better than getting like actual like people who can speak with an accent. Jamaican. Honestly, they should have gone further. They should have had like everybody just have random accents from all over the world. Like you just have one guy speak with a random Chinese accent. That would be so weird.
We have to make it before dark.
Maybe in other parts of the world you wouldn't notice how bad these accents are, but I have several Geordie friends. Weird flex. And it was all so bad I just had to skip all the dialogue with any minors I met. Also, when you are speaking to a person, their voice will often change mid-conversation.
Have you two got any groschen? Remember how I told you about the Divazhinka of Semaine?
Oh no, that's not good. Honestly, if I had played this, I think I would be, for a little bit, I would have thought they were two different people.
The most notable example of this was when I was traveling and was stopped by a man speaking Latin in what some people might class as an Italian accent.
Ah, Laudetur Jesus Christus! Here you are at last.
After chatting with him, I agreed to join him in a game of dice so I could hear more about his travels in Rome and the troubles that come with speaking Latin in Bohemia.
What game would you like to play?
That did not sound like an Italian accent. Okay.
I'm seriously curious about you, lad.
Was that a third voice?
To be fair, this had already happened to me in almost every single dice encounter I'd had.
If I'd known I'd have to play every villager.
May the best player win.
But this one in particular really threw me. Meeting this guy was part of a scripted event with really important sounding dialogue. How did this happen? Then finally, there are the women in this game.
There are the women in this game. In what way exactly?
The faces of most of the male models in this game look at least passable, but something has gone terribly wrong with the ladies. Not only do they eat stuff out of each other's hair, some look about as convincing as women from the GameCube era.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't see it. It looks like a totally reasonable, human woman face. I mean, it's not like supermodel or anything, but, you know, obviously this is supposed to be realistic. These are supposed to be, you know, realistic people. Just normal, realistic people.
And the least said about the body models in this game, the better.
Oh, Henry, you're so handsome.
About halfway through
I mean, some people wouldn't see that as a complaint.
the story, you meet a character called Rosa Ruthard, and oh my god, it's a human woman! Right after meeting Rosa, I knew she was going to be a possible love interest for Henry, because of course we're interested. It's like Stockholm Syndrome. She's the only recognizable female human in all of Bohemia. I would argue that you could say the same about...
Honestly, okay, out of context, that sentence could be extremely racist.
the character Catherine, as she looks mostly human, but not only is she able to look completely behind her, her neck seam is so prominent, I'm worried at any moment it will open up and suck the universe inside.
So the first half of this game's story is all really cinematic and well made.
I was gonna ask, does it fall off in the second half, but I can't tell right now if he's being sarcastic or not. Curse you, Asperger's!
The way the game is slowly introduced to us over several hours, establishing how you need food, clothes, and varied equipment, only to drop you off alone in the middle of nowhere in Trusky with absolutely nothing, was a genuinely unnerving way to start.
I remember feeling really overwhelmed about how I would survive out here. It's likely the same way Henry would have felt, so it's a really effective way to connect us to our player character early on.
And it takes quite a while, but we do eventually get grounded in Trusky, exploring all of the places of interest, and in order to make a name for ourselves, meeting local nobles like Lord Semine and eventually Lord von Bergov, who weirdly talks just like Tim Curry from the Mask animated series.
Including my page and my surgeon.
Greetings, Mask.
We explain our...
Wow, okay. Honestly, again, the Mask cartoon is one of those shows I've always wanted to see, but I've never gotten the chance to, or just haven't found the time to. Man, I didn't know Tim Curry was in there. Man, just another reason to go watch it then.
Our mission to von Bergov in that we want him to support the rightful King Wenceslas rather than the usurper Sigismund, and so we do some missions for him in order to curry favour. Tim Curry! About halfway through the game though, Lord von Bergov turns on us, revealing that he's loyal to King Sigismund. He captures Lord Capon, and Henry ends up siding with the bandits from the start of the game who are actually loyal to King Wenceslas and are forced to escape Trusky with the bandit leader Zizka.
And this creates quite a sensitive part of the game. See, we leave behind all the characters and locations we've met thus far and go to a completely new map.
Now, it's really important that the game doesn't follow this kind of change with one of the most boring series of sequences ever put in a video game. We leave Trusky and travel a long, empty road while Zizka monologues dozens of names and locations we've never even heard of. And because we have to be historically accurate, he lists every name and title anyone's ever had. So we have the Dry Devil, Lord Hinyuk of Kunstadt, Burgrave of Zundermo Castle, Lord of Shutdol, Fortress of Lord Pisek, the Mint Master, King Wenceslas, Margrave Yobs, the blessing of Lord Jesus Christ.
Honestly, this is just reminding me of that one like joke post from 4chan about like European history versus Chinese history.
Count Baron Kaiser van de Verdlinge Fingerlinde van Hotsfein de Magdeberry's half-sisters, Nick Vietrin and Upload in the Edge Wolves, the Zersky of Bloodstock, Tresno Yasko Grad, triggering a war between King Juan and Maria Rigoberto, Huascacat, Fernando Domingo de la Thea Bendigo, and Pierre Cheles Obratage.
Zizka, who are all these people?
We then have to watch 20 minutes of political meetings, followed by the slowest mission possible, where we need to search an empty forest for weapons with this guy, Kubayenka. And the structure of this mission is ghastly. We're told we need to find Kubanyenka, so we leave, ride a totally empty landscape in an unskippable cutscene, meet Kubanyenka, ride a totally empty landscape in an unskippable cut, stop for a wee, discover he's unkillable, walk slowly through a forest, find that the other people we're meeting aren't here, walk slowly through a forest, find the guns, dig for the guns, no guns here, walk slowly through a forest, grab some alcohol from a stream, fail to kill him again, walk slowly through a forest, find the guns, dig for the guns, no guns here, walk slowly through a forest, dig for the guns, find the guns, walk slowly through a forest and ride an empty landscape in an unskippable cutscene.
Quadrants of harlots and rags from the wine kegs.
From here we decide to form a rebel group to stop Sigismund and save Lord Capon. As part of this, I am tasked to gather together the remainder of the Dry Devil's crew in an endless series of cutscenes and pointless conversations.
Okay, so I am getting the suspicion here that the development team spent all their time on the first half of the game and not as much on the second half. goody.
Even the in-game summary of these meetings and what we need to do next is completely overwhelming. Kubienko told me about their gang, or at least what was left of it. I have to find Matthew, Bahuta, Raniek, Janosch, and Ada. The only thing he knows about Matthew is that he's robbing people somewhere, maybe because of Mr. Bahuta has taken to the other. Also, 3 of the 5 people we need to travel to find in this new, seemingly empty map don't even join us, so it all ends up feeling like so much busy work.
Overall, then, there is absolutely no way I would have continued playing this game past this point if I wasn't reviewing it.
I even texted a friend who I knew had played this game, and he gave up at this exact point. A really similar thing actually happens in The Witcher 3's story, where about a third of the way through the game, you tie up all of your affairs with the Bloody Baron, leave behind every character and location you've met thus far, and travel to an entirely new map, Novigrad, for Act 2. This was a big shift to adjust to, but The Witcher 3 pulled it off by starting this section in a really impressive, bustling city filled to the brim with interesting characters and unique dramas. The new map in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does basically the total opposite of this. But what's even more baffling is hidden away on the other side of this second map is a really impressive bustling city filled to the brim with interesting characters and unique dramas. And look, it even has laminar flow.
Laminar flow? It's easy. Just film some water flowing, mask around the stream, and then freeze the video. Neat, huh?
I had no idea this city was even here because it's completely tucked away in the other corner of the map. For days, I wandered around this new area convinced it was just a load of identical towns.
The city of Kurenberg, then,
once you find it,
is great. It's filled with fun side quests, and the realistic layout and plethora of fine details
That was a lot of
adds to
smoke.
the immersion, giving it a unique feel.
You can even speedrun the game by stroking your dog here, as doing so makes you accelerate through time and space. So couldn't...
Oh god. Again, these are the types of glitches that I live for, and I'm so angry I rarely experience. Honestly, closest I've ever had was during when I played Psychonauts. Second to last area before you reach the final boss. There's like a really hard climb through an area called the Meat Circus. And I've been trying to play it for a bit before I glitched and just bounced all the way to the top of the map. Oh, what the... What happened? What is going on? Oh no.
Dad, I made it!
You cheated!
No!
I think I did! What was that? Oh god, I wish I experienced stuff like that more. Like, I've played several games that are like supposedly like really buggy, and I never run into this stuff.
Berg here is a good setting, but the main story itself for me doesn't pick back up again for quite a while. It is largely just political meetings after 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 political meetings.
And that's kind of the immediate downside of making your game historically accurate. Most conflicts in history, including this one, were largely political. So a lot of the time, just not much happens.
At one point, we're told we're even going to get to meet King Sigismund by sneaking into a town meeting as a waiter.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
Now, Sigismund is a big deal. He's the whole reason my home was burnt down and my family killed. He's basically been the topic of almost every conversation in this entire game. Everything then so far has been leading to this encounter, and I was genuinely excited. So what happens?
Are you gonna kill him?
We have to serve wine for 15 minutes. Then when Sigismund finally arrives, the game cuts away to a different location where we have to play as Godwin for a full hour of numerous political meetings. We finally cut back, watch another political...
Wait, really? They make you switch characters?
meeting play out, and this ends with a new fucking political meeting starting. Henry barely says a word for any of this either. He just stands there in silence like a rhubarb and custard boiled sweet. The most notable thing we do is bow at the end, but even that manages to disappoint, and it looks more like our neck dislocates. Shortly after this, we're told we're going to plan a heist to steal the king's silver in order to defund Sigismund. Yes, finally, something that can't possibly be made boring. So, after several meetings, we first go underground and find a spot that leads to where the silver is kept. We then take control of Godwin and disguise ourselves as missionaries from the Pope. We cleverly bluff our way into the Silver Fortress. And finally, just before the heist begins, we need to carefully mediate a 30-minute-long political meeting to decide the rights and funding for the Brotherhood of Christ religious group who want to build a church of St. Barbara against the interests of the Sedlets Monastery. Oh!
honestly, like, I know, actually going through this would probably feel different than, watching the video here. But at this moment, like, I am very happy I am not playing this game myself, because at this point, this just seems like torture. And if you're getting to this point in the game, like, you're obviously too far in to get a Steam refund. Ah!
Oh my god! The game pauses a fucking silver heist for this!
Id eventus factorum sodalitatis, quam plus tenet volumen numorum, quam bonum eos paretiam non...
And not only is this political meeting less impactful than Henry riding under a small tree, when this sequence finally ends, Godwin says,
Well, at last! I've had it up to the fucking eyeballs here.
As if he knows what utter shite this sequence has been for everyone involved.
God, a meeting is long and bad when the character you're playing as is just as angry that they had to sit through it as you are.
Now that isn't to say the second half of the story is all bad. The very ending of it, I would say, is probably the best part of the entire game.
See, we steal Sigismund's silver. But word gets out that we have it, and the Pragas, who are Sigismund's leftover army, come siege us so that they can get hold of it and at least get paid, y'all. And so from here starts the Siege of Suckdal.
I mean, honestly, I'm just thinking, like, leftover army that wasn't paid? I mean, I could almost see that just as, like, you convince them to work for you, like, you pay them extra, I mean, if you can, like, to be on your side and, like, dethrone Sigismund. Like, just win-win.
I better put this on then. Ow!
So throughout this review, we've seen how the realism in this game has, for me, been a bit of a mixed bag.
There have been parts where it really helped this game, and other parts where it really brought it down. But for me, the entire ending of this game is made all the better by its realistic tone.
In this ending, we are held up in a fortress during a month-long siege. And as such, we see in real time the various military techniques that would have been employed in this kind of situation. Siege weapons, trench raids, defensive maneuvers, night insurgents, torturing captured enemies. We also get to see how a looming military force and dwindling food stocks affect the personalities of the characters we've gotten to know.
Even that dog turd looks tempting.
All while our stats slowly drop as we get weaker. It all gets you really immersed in this event and creates a genuine dislike of the faceless enemy outside as they shove endless sausages into their mouths. Even the slow weapons feel less annoying.
Wait, is that where the thumbnail came from?
As their long loading time just elongates the tension brought by the approaching forces. Fuck this game, but it's not all gravy, of course. During this siege, I characteristically have several conversations with thin air, including a final goodbye with Capon, where he doesn't even bother to show up.
I've come to say goodbye.
Saying that, it was even more awkward when I accidentally clicked that we should kiss and got treated to a long shot of thin air with nothing but intense kissing sounds.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all...
Honestly, that's one of those things that has always annoyed me about, romances in games, where if they're not done properly, one misclick and you're gay. Like, there's no warning. There's like, are you sure? No, it's just, you're gay now.
For Henry and Capon reenacting this shot. It's just throughout this game, Capon has felt more like a little brother to me, so this romance really didn't work. That's right. There's only one man for me.
Regardless, the siege ends with us having to fall right back and the Pragas eventually getting the silver. No one important dies though, as I sneak off to get reinforcements and save the day at the last minute.
This ending section is so good that I found it left me feeling pretty positive about the game as a whole.
The realistic struggle we all went through together as a unit and the bond it created.
It more than makes up for some of the shaky parts of the story earlier.
It made me think about what a shame it is that we never actually get to see the endings of many video games nowadays. So many are just so long and unfocused that we don't have the time or the motivation to get through an entire story.
Honestly, again, that's the entire reason I started my YouTube channel started uploading to my YouTube channel in the first place. Again, because for the longest time, I have a horrible habit of not finishing video games. So I just started uploading them so I'd have the excuse of, you have to keep playing. You need to finish your Let's Play.
Knowing how something ends, I'd say, is vital in being able to judge it properly. Surely any critical opinion on a video game you haven't finished is meaningless.
However, if you look at this game's Steam page, there are 80,000 pretty concise reviews. Yet less than 30% of people who bought Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 have completed it. Hell, only 40% of people made it past that f***ing Kubayenka quest. The game ends on a big positive note though, with us all having a big celebration with as much food as we can eat. Oh my god!
I guess that's just how they ate cured meats in the 1400s.
Just eat the entire sausage, just shove it down your throat, don't bother chewing it.
Well, when in Bohemia...
This is honestly a little disturbing. Why? Why?
Thank you everyone for watching, and as always, this video took a lot of production funds to get all the props, armor, and editing you see together. So if you want, you can support me making more stuff like this by joining the Patreon below for as little as $2, and you get loads of extra stuff. Like a Patreon-only behind the scenes of this video where I'm going to go over all the bloopers, and a stream where I'm going to run through how I made the video and did a lot of the production effects. Oh my god, thank you for watching to the very end of it.
Oh, God, honestly, again, it's definitely one of those things, like, I've heard, before this video, I had heard so many good things about the game, but I had not heard, like, besides the fact it's like, oh, smithing and, like, potion making took a long time, I had not heard any of those downsides. And granted, like, the visual glitches where people just disappear, I can get behind that. That's just funny. But, like, the whole thing where, like, the second half of the game is seemingly just almost, like, 90% just meetings. Like that. Oh, that is just horrible pacing. Oh. But yeah, that's definitely going to be it for now. I mean, again, I love everything that, you know, upisnotjump puts out, and I'm glad he's put out another video. So yeah, that's going to be it for now. So, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. And yeah, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.